Hi there, this is Duke of Many Things, back at the home for Orphan Dice. Hey, so I'm here to talk about DMing and how to win at D&D. Yes, it is possible. Now, there are some folk who will say you can't win at D&D because it's collaborative, everybody's working together. Uh, one point of view will show every individual success on a dice roll where you meet or get better than the target. That's an individual win, and everything where you fail is a loss. And the game builds from all the successive wins and losses, developing the story as you go. So when I first started talking to people about how and why I DM, it became apparent that if I can run a game such that at the end of the game, people still want to play, that's a win. If something even disastrous, tragic happens to the character and they still want to play, that's a win. If their character dies beyond redemption and they have to start all over again and they still want to play, if they still want to play with me as the DM, that's a win. The scale beyond that, you'd say, if you just introduce somebody to the game and at the end of the session they come back to you with, okay, I love this game, what do I need to run a game of my own? That's the extra bit of win there. And there are people who watch my DMing who will say, well, to run your own game, set of the books, dice, pencil and paper, and in my case, a metric buttload of cardboard. Yes, shade thrown my way, which I will accept on the chin there. Okay. Given it's as much the story created by the players as much as it is the story created by yourself, when you can prompt and lay out options so the players are encouraged to bring in their own story elements, that's when it becomes fulfilling for the players. There's a little thing that happens in various of the live streams. On the live stream, they get called whispers. When I was DMing in person, I would occasionally stand up and say, "Come talk to me." So I would bring somebody out of the room, talk to them on their own, and then they get to tell the information I've just given to them in character to the other players. That again is that's letting them become as much a part of the storytelling just as much as you are when you're DMing. We have an interruption. This is Auntie Katniss. Say hello, Katniss. Say hello to the people. Hello. I get lost. Where were we? Okay, next on the script. Oh, wrong page. There. Yes. Here's the wrong page. Right, something which comes up to create a more fulfilling story: cliffhangers. Now, the creators of D&D, all the writers and the story preparers, they put together the stats for the monsters, the stats for the the player characters such that they're intending that a combat will have run through in about 3 rounds. So, depending on your table, your players, 3 rounds of combat, you should gauge that as taking up an hour, three quarters of an hour and a quarter, depending on your players, how many players you have. I like to work with top side of 3. My upper limit was 8, 9, because that way it was beyond 8, beyond 7. Bringing in everybody so each individual player gets to input becomes more difficult. But yeah, so when each character is acting a turn during the combat, the 3 rounds of combat, depending on your number of players, you'll be able to put your break and or your end of session such that, okay, the combat's about to start. How long have we got until either the halfway break or the session ends? So you'll be able to say, okay, we're now going to go for a 10-minute break. And so I'm going to get initiative from everybody first. And then when we come back, we'll run the combat. Or if you come to the end of a session, okay, you say, okay, this going to be a combat happening next session, but I'll take the initiative now. Don't be afraid when you've come to the end of a story beat, give it 5-10 minutes either way. You can say, and that's where I'll take a 10-minute break. Or, and that's where we're going to end the session. I'll see you next week. So the reactions you're going to get from the other players saying, oh, we were just getting good. So you're building up the anticipation for what's going to be happening when we start up again. So yeah, I really don't like being forced to either stop a combat, stop a session halfway through a combat. I don't like that. So if I know there's going to be a diminished amount of time before either the break or before the end of the session, I will string things along a bit until the break or the end of session happens at a fitting time appropriate to the story. So the combat, whatever it is leading up to the combat, give it about, depending on your number of players, take an hour, between say 55 minutes and an hour and 15. So you've got this much storytelling available before. Okay, now we're going to go into a combat, and everybody's brought in turn. Let's see what we got for next on the script. The prologue. Yeah. After you've done your okay, now we're playing, whatever prompt you use. I personally use the let's go through a register and refer to each character by their character name to make sure every player knows, right, now we're doing D&D, we can quit with the side conversations now, which usually works. Naming, no names, no pack drill. Bring in a reminder of what the story had been in the previous session. I call it the prologue, such that you will have described You don't have to go into every single detail, but just main story beats. Let remind everybody that that's what's happened and that this is where we are in the story. At which point you can now leave in with, okay, so that was where we got to last week. Now, what do you each want to do? Yeah, as I said, bringing in the characters one by one, either if it's just another bit of the story, soft initiative, just go down the list in order of um, your your written down table on the piece of paper in front of you, or in order of the recorded initiative if it's in fact a combat that's beginning. Okay, yes, making sure everybody has input into the story, such that you're not only providing fun. Well, if it's not fun, why would they play? You're not only providing fun for the players. As a DM, you are allowed to have fun as well. Self care is important. Underline that. Write it in red. Take a little circle around it. Everybody is supposed to be having fun, including you, the DM. Okay. So, just a couple of top tips there then from my DMing. So, that's about it from me. And I will say, Allie Jagdest.